Hello there. I'm going to talk about this Matamp right here, GT1, and what I like about it and why I chose the GT1 over the GT120, which seems like it's more popular, maybe just by name, but I'm going to show you again why I like this guy better than the GT120. So here's in the GTL mode or whatever, when you put the master to off, your gain becomes your volume and also your gain, so it's kind of like a non-master amp at that point. So I'm gonna play through that, and that's kind of like the clean tone, which SG with a lace Dragonaut in the bridge. This is what it sounds like with the volume at like 9 o'clock. If we roll the volume up a little bit more, let's say that's like 11 o'clock, more gain. More gain. So at this point, this voice right here, which is kind of like a high pass, so it's cutting off low end. I have it cutting out a decent amount of low end right now, but if I turn it off, which is all the way that way, to me this starts to get into like GT120 territory, because there's a lot of low end and it becomes slower. Like it doesn't really chug, but it like... Yeah, those notes are real thick. So if you're trying to chug, like it's too kind of a little flubby, which is almost like to me GT120. So it kind of, to me, does that. We can turn it up even more. So now it's at 3 o'clock. So this thing's almost dying. We'll dime it, because why not? You can hear like I think that's power amp distortion. Awesome. I'll take the voice back off, knocked it up a couple notches, so there's less low end, which allows the amp to be a little quicker. Like it's still a little slow, but and then if I do the voice all the way off, so there's like a bunch of low end cut out. It's still kind of slow. Alright, so let's go back to voice about there, lowering the overall gain to like maybe 2 o'clock. And then here's the Frayle White Witch pedal by Occult Effects, which is a rat with some mids added to it. It's like a modified rat. For comparison, here's the life pedal. A Rat. Kind of wind handy. I think that's how that goes. Here's the white wedge. Which to me, that white wedge is more usable. Like once you get that in a mix, it cuts through a lot better. Sometimes the Rat, it's also the low end sweet and it's cool to play in a room, but like once you get it in a mix, it can get lost, and then you got to EQ it, and sometimes that EQ gets a little fizzy. All right, so that's the non-master mode. Now we're gonna turn the gain down and turn it on to master mode, which now it becomes like kind of a faster. Here it can almost chug. So to me, that right there, it's like 2 amps in one, right? Like that non-master mode is kind of GT 120-ish. And then when you put it in the master mode, it becomes like much more aggressive, faster amp, which is great because when you layer those two, it's almost like you have two different heads, especially when recording. So gain up a little more. Like this is about where I usually record with it, like this. See, it's still chugging. When you do that kind of stuff, it still sounds slow because it's so thick. It's being thick, so now the voice, the high pass all the way off. A little too flubby to chug. That's almost kind of wind handy right there without the Rat, right? Voice all the way up. Let's go back to how I usually have it, and then let's do some spooky stuff. This is the afterneath. The afterneath is a little much for this guy, just because there's so much gain going on. I feel like spooky effects like that may be better through Rock Reverb or the Thunder Reverb. Also, this amp, only thing that I don't like about it is I didn't get it with a loop. I wish I would have had an effects loop put in it. I still can, I guess, but I use, you know, reverb and chorus and, well, I guess not chorus, but chorusy reverb so much, you know, through these, the two oranges, because they both have loops, that I wish I could do it through the Matamp, but because the Matamp is so mid-focused, once you shove a bunch of delay or effects to the front end, it kind of gets muddy and lost in there. So, only bad thing in my mind about the GT1. let's dime it. So if you turn the gain down, like now you'll hear the preamp still working the same, but the power amp tubes aren't distorting as much. So it still sounds good, but those harmonics are gone with the power tube. Like, listen, like. Go back to the non-master mode and try to do cleans, which I think it does a pretty good job of. I just put it to the neck pickup. It's a MXR Phase 90. This is a Black Hawk. I don't know the name of it, but it's kind of like a distortion, but with like a mid focus. So it's like cocked wah. So back to the neck pickup, which is like Sleeper Sabbath. This is another one from SRC, same kind of idea. It's a gain with a focused EQ. I always put the mids up. White Witch. It was clean before. And the White Witch also has like a, which is just a mid bump, because I want to add even more mids. So it's real subtle, but it's pretty cool. I'm gonna turn the gain up a little bit, so clean. And here's a little mid bump. Mid bump off. So back to clean with the gain up a little bit now. So that's it, GT1. I don't know, if you have any questions, put them down below and I'll try to answer them. And then we'll leave with it loud.